You ever look at someone at work and just think, wow, they're on a totally different level? It's not magic, it's not luck. It's actually a set of powerful, learnable, well, building blocks. And in this explainer, we're going to deconstruct it all, piece by piece, right? I mean, we all know people who are perfectly good at their jobs, they get things done. But then there are the great ones, the high performers. So what's the secret sauce? Is it just raw talent? Some kind of luck? Or, and this is the big question, is it a code that we can actually crack? Well, that's exactly the puzzle we're here to solve. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with what I'm calling the performance puzzle. Then we'll get into the three core parts. The foundation, which is all about what you do, the framework, which covers how you act, and finally, the impact, the bottom line, what you deliver. So let's kick things off with the performance puzzle. See, before we can jump to the answers, we really got to get the question right. Being a high performer, it's not just about taking off a bunch of boxes on a list. It's way more than that. Think of it like an interconnected system, a machine where all the parts have to work together. We're going to build a mental model to see exactly how those pieces fit. Okay, on to our very first building block, the foundation. I mean, it's right there in the name, right? You can't build a skyscraper on sand, and you can't build a high-performing career without something solid underneath. This is all about the raw materials you bring to the table, the absolute essentials. So yeah, every great structure, every great career, it all starts right here with a solid foundation. And the good news is, it really just boils down to two things that you have total control over, what you know and what you can do. Let's dig into that. First, let's talk about knowledge. And look, this is way more than just knowing how to do your specific tasks. It's about having this deep, holistic understanding of the whole ecosystem you're in, your company's products, its processes, what the competition is up to. Think about it. A top-tier accountant doesn't just crunch numbers. Nope. They're on top of the latest tax laws so they can find new ways to save the company money. It's this constant, hungry commitment to keep learning. Okay, so the other half of this foundation is skills, and we can kind of split these in two. You've got your hard skills over here. These are the teachable, technical things, like software proficiency, data analysis, programming. But, and this is a big but, just as crucial are the soft skills. We're talking communication, teamwork, problem solving. A true high performer isn't just a master of one side. Nah, they're brilliant at blending the two together. All right, so you've got the knowledge, you've got the skills. That's your foundation. Awesome. But honestly, that's just raw potential. It's like having a pile of bricks and lumber. Our next building block, the framework, is what actually builds the house. It gives all that potential some direction, some integrity. It shifts the focus from what you can do to how you actually do it. And this right here is such a critical point. I mean, lots of people have skills, but it's the application, the how, that separates the good from the great. This framework has two sides to it. There's your internal attitude, your mindset, what's going on inside, and then there's your external behavior, the actions everyone else sees. Let's unpack how those two connect. So let's start with the inside job, your attitude. Think of this as your personal operating system, the software that runs everything else. A high performer's OS is built on a growth mindset. They genuinely believe they can get better. They don't just sit around waiting for instructions. They're proactive. They take ownership. They've got a real passion for what they do. And this is huge. When they get feedback, they don't see it as an attack. They see it as a gift, as fuel for getting even better.
Okay, so that's the internal mindset. Now, how does that show up on the outside, in your behavior? Well, these are the things people can actually see and count on. High performers are disciplined. They're consistent. It's not about rare flashes of genius. It's about showing up every single day. They're on time, they hit their deadlines, they're great collaborators, and yeah, they follow the rules. In a word, they're reliable. Absolutely reliable.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Attitude is the architect of behavior. Your mindset is literally drawing the blueprints for your actions. If you have a proactive mindset, what happens? You take proactive actions. If you have an open mindset, you're going to behave collaboratively. It's a direct cause and effect. One flows right into the other, which brings us to the top of our structure, our final and, you could definitely argue, most important building block, the impact. Okay, so you've got the foundation, you've got the framework. Now there's only one question that really matters. So what? What's the result? This is where the rubber meets the road. It's all about the tangible, measurable value you actually create. And creating that real impact, it's not random. It follows a pretty clear path. Step 1, you have to deliver high-quality work consistently. That's just the table stakes, the price of admission.
But here's the thing, doing amazing work on the wrong stuff is useless. So step 2 is making sure what you're doing is actually aligned with what the company is trying to achieve. And only when you've done that can you get to step 3, creating value that people can actually see and measure.
So when we say measurable value, what are we really talking about? This isn't some fluffy, abstract concept. We're talking about real, tangible stuff. Things like increasing sales, reducing costs, making sure projects are delivered on time, every time. It's the kind of value that, well, it gets noticed. It's the stuff that shows up on reports and gets you a shout out in the big meetings.
Yeah. At the end of the day, impact is the answer to that big so what question. It's the hard proof, the evidence that your foundation of knowledge and skills, guided by that solid framework of attitude and behavior, is actually moving the needle. It's the result, the part everyone can point to and say, that made a difference. So we've gone through all the individual pieces. We've seen the foundation, the framework, the impact. Now let's put it all together. Let's boil it all down into one simple but incredibly powerful formula. And there you have it. High performer equals knowledge plus skills plus behavior plus attitude. All of that adding up to real tangible results. You take away any one of those pieces and the whole thing gets wobbly. This right here, this is your blueprint, your recipe for excellence.
So that brings us to the big takeaway. Looking at that formula, the final question really isn't for me, it's for you. Where's your biggest opportunity for growth? Do you need to go deeper on your knowledge? Or maybe sharpen a specific skill? Or is it time to work on your attitude, your internal OS? Think about it for a second. Which one of these building blocks are you going to start strengthening first?